this brief video today, we're going to look at the ChemZent collection in SciFinder. This was added in 2016. It's fully integrated into SciFinder, and it means that the previously inaccessible content, ChemZent has never really been very easy to access, is now fully searchable. ChemZent means Chemische Zentralblatt, and it is the oldest journal of German chemical abstracts. And the content of this covers patents and journals from 1830 to 1969. So it is a significant resource of historical chemical information. And for researchers and students and so forth, this really unlocks the history of chemistry. So we can search this by many ways, and first of all I'm going to start with a author search, Kurt Alder. You'll probably recognize this name. Kurt Alder with his partner Otto Diels, they discovered the formation of cyclic systems in what was to become known as the Diels-Alder reaction, and it certainly is significant even today in many aspects of chemical industry. So let's take a look at what we find. Okay, I'm going to select the name, get references, and when you have ChemZent integrated into SciFinder, you will see this button, View Only ChemZent, and what this allows me to do is to go directly to those ChemZent records, and there's 138 of them in total. Now I can scan through these, of course, but what I can also do perhaps is look at the analyze, and I can see his partner there, Otto Diels. There's 18 publications with this gentleman, so let's take a look at those 18. And I'm going to keep the analysis on this. Now the reason that I've picked this is it illustrates very nicely how enriched a lot of the ChemZent content is. So we actually see a very detailed record here of this particular publication. And in many cases where you do see duplicate records, where a record may appear in ChemZent, and it's also from the Chemical Abstracts collection as well, you might often see that the ChemZent content is much more detailed in terms of the abstract, and there may even be different substances indexed from those. But what we do see, because this is a part of SciFinder, when you click on the title, we can see the typical SciFinder display along the right hand side here, and right at the end of the record as well, we also see the substances and the concepts that were indexed from that particular publication. So it's a great way of accessing this really historical content, and certainly, you know, main pioneers in the chemical industry, either in basic or applied chemistry, Kurt Alder, Linus Pauling, Louis Pasteur, Dorothy Hodgkin, and so on. They are very well covered in the ChemZent content. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a research topic, so we can see how this matches up. And I'm going to search for synthesis of azo dyes that contain metals or containing metals. Click on search, and I'm going to take my first answer set that we have here with all of those concepts are closely associated, and get references. Now what we can see here on this page is a lot of the answers that I have are fairly new. In fact, this one here is from 2018. It's an ahead of print article from Applied Organometallic Chemistry. So this topic is also uncovering recent articles as well. I'm not just looking here for very old stuff. So I'm also finding very new records as well. But if I come now, I'm not going to go to View Only ChemZent. I'm going to come over here to Analyze By. I'm down to Database, and I can see that of all of these records, approximately 1/3 of them are from the historical content from ChemZent. If I click on ChemZent, And I can see that bar's gone to yellow. I'm basically marking these records. I've not kept the analysis. I just want to mark them out. And what that allows me to easily do now is if I come to analyze by and now choose author name, what I can now see is there are some authors that have predominantly coverage in ChemZent, others of course in the CA content as well. So I can see how these records have split out, and certainly this organisation here is pretty much exclusively covered in ChemZent. Now finally what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come and I'm going to do a search by chemical structure. And I'm not going to draw this, I'm going to use my text to structure, and I'm going to enter in a CA registry number. Now this substance is sulfanilamide. It's an antibacterial drug that was discovered in the 30s. This was discovered by an organisation called IG Farben, who pioneered forward with a direction to drive drug discovery. So they found this as a part of their discovery work. So I'm going to search for this as an exact structure. Okay, so here are my matching substances. I have the substance itself, but of course an exact structure search is also finding me salts and mixtures as well. So I'm going to go to get references. All right, I have quite a few references, but first of all I'm going to come to refine, and I'm going to refine down to that period of time where these sulfonamide antibacterial drugs were discovered. Okay, so here's my answer set. I'm going to analyze again by the database, and you can see it's almost parity between the coverage in terms of the number of documents in CA Plus and also in ChemZent. So once more I'm going to click on ChemZent, and I'm also going to now analyze by the author name. And you can see, we have some here that are exclusively to the CA content and some also to the ChemZent content. And if you click on show more when you do an analyze, you do see the complete list that we have here. And in fact, here's my company, IG Farben Industry. If I click here and go to apply, and now see these records, these 11 records. I'm going to do a keep analysis on here. And if I see what the first publication is that they published, then I can change the sort by order by clicking on that arrow. And in fact, it is in the early document from 1929, production of soluble chromium compounds of azo dyes. And it is in fact this work where this particular company injected an azo dye, Prontosil, into mice infected with bacteria, and then they went on ahead to find that the active component was in fact sulfanilamide. So I hope what this very short demonstration has done is it's shown you the value of including ChemZent in SciFinder. It is a collection, it's a one-off collection that is added in there, and it certainly allows, as I mentioned earlier, students and researchers to access this wealth of knowledge from the past. And of course this only helps towards enriching future chemistry knowledge and also future innovations. Thank you very much.